Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series MOCtalks. In this episode, for those of you who maybe didn't catch the first one, we are essentially what this is the Bionicle Inspiration series, but with a guest. And we also sort of cover their processes, cover their just everything they do, essentially. And hopefully this kind of gives you a few more insights into some new techniques and new ways of approaching mocking. And again, gives you more ideas, inspires you, gets you out of a mocking block, all that crap. So, today on the show, we have Mr. Dave Foreman. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hi everyone, hello internet, hi Ben. It's nice to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a part of the show.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll just start. So, we're
Yeah,
gonna
let's just,
start off.
to borrow another famous YouTuber's phrase. Let's just jump right into
Yeah,
it.
let's just jump right in. The first mock we have is one of your mocks. Do you wanna introduce it and talk a little bit about it?
Yes. So for my mock today, I decided to maybe subvert all the masculinity and the testosterone in the Bionicle community, and I have chosen Maristela, the Astral Mage.
Ooh.
Yeah, so she's to allude to the mock I'll be picking later, she's very inspired by some other builders in the community. For all the testosterone and all the manliness of just like big giant robot with a big freaking gun or something like that. There's not as many like feminine mocks or girly mocks, and there's a few mockers out there in the world that they make these really awesome girly feminine style mocks. Arrow Oakinson is one of them, and then L.A. Miranda, also known as Golden Arpeggio, makes some really beautiful dollies, as he calls them. And I was just very inspired by that, because like that's not something you see a whole lot from the 95% of the rest of the community. And so I just wanted to subvert all that, I guess, and have my own uh, statement of what a girly mock could be.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really like how you've used a lot of these like weird system trans purple castle roof pieces, which is otherwise a useless part. Um, but yeah, it's cool because it kind of gives that like little like cool dress, not really a dress, like a robe for a wizard, and then kind of them being used again. It's cool to have that flow and them kind of being like the sleeves on the wizard's cloak. I think that's really clever.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, it absolutely is a dress. Oh, it absolutely is like a skirt, like a that like comes up to her like beneath her chest and like her midriff down. So it absolutely is a skirt.
Yeah, cool, cool.
Um, but yeah, I was at Bricks by the Bay one year, and there's a vendor there where uh, they sell like repackaged brand new parts. Like they carefully open up the bags out of Lego sets, part out the entire set, and then they throw like, oh hey, you can get like 4 of this part for $1 or 20 of these for like $3, and then they like hot glue them back into the bag and then sell them like that. And so I was at this at the vendor during Bricks by the Bay, and I saw the purple roof pieces, and they're specifically from the Scooby-Doo mansion.
Ah, cool. Okay.
Yeah, they're from the Scooby-Doo mansion. So if you're wondering like, hey, where did Dave get purple roofs? The Scooby-Doo, it was the largest set for the Scooby-Doo line when they did that, and it was like 2 for $1, and I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder what I could do with that. And then so I just grabbed both of them and then I threw them in my bag. And I'm like, I don't know what I'll do with this. We'll find out. But it could just be a cool part I use somewhere. And then I was sitting down to build one day, and I'm like, what can I do with these? And I just kind of stuck 2 of them together. I'm like, oh, that looks like a dress. I'm like, oh, there you go. Let's do that.
Yeah, that's
and just so that was like the initial spark of inspiration was just like, oh, this part looks like a dress. And then like I had 2 more, so it's like, okay, well I can use those as the sleeves like I did.
Yeah.
So that she has like this really flowy, like it's supposed to be a really flowy outfit for her.
Mm.
you know Like they're giant chunks of plastic, so I can't make them like blow in the wind. But like that's what it would be. It would be this really flowy outfit with like really long baggy sleeves.
Yeah. I think that's two really cool things about kind of getting inside, I guess, is like how there's some parts that people just like stay away from entirely, and even like system people cannot use those like castle roof slope pieces because they also come in sand green in Harry Potter sets. And I've talked to heaps of system builders, and they're like, "No, man, these are no, I hate these parts." And I think it's really cool because obviously no one wants them, and they go for super cheap. And if you're able to find a really cool part use for that, it's not only awesome because you've used a really cheap part, but also a really cool part. But also, you've created something that like is just really impressive because it is otherwise such a useless part. But yeah, it's cool to really stretch the boundaries on that, and you don't have to break the bank like getting any. And also what you were saying about like you just shove the two pieces together and you're like, oh hey, that looks like a thing. I think that's so cool of just like literally just picking up some parts, playing with them, and then a mock just kind of forms out of that. Like that's really awesome.
Like you would not have like literally my most well-known mock nowadays, just because I shove it everywhere and push it on everybody, is Mateo. Like he's my self mock, and he's the like when you click on my Flickr, he's on the banner, he's my icon. I literally shove the guy everywhere I can. And my most well-known mock, other than maybe Mototar, came from that. Just I held that beak mask up to a like a Metru head. I'm like, oh, that looks like a Plague Doctor mask. Oh, let's do that. That's cool. And then I built this like really crappy like all gray version except for the mask, which was the dark red one. And then I'm like, all right, I can do that better. And then I built like the very, very first version of Mateo in 2010. And then just like everything else, like everything followed that, and I just got him, made him better, and he became like my most well developed character. And like he's my most developed character to the point that like he has his own fan art folder.
That's really cool. Wow.
Yeah, like like literally somebody's made a sculpture of him.
Wow.
Like a clay polymer sculpture of him for their art project, and then my ex-girlfriend made a little plushie of him. And so, like, he literally has his own merchandise already, and
that's really cool.
That's just insane to think about. Like, people have just responded so well to that character, and it came from that idea of just take a Lego piece, keep your mind completely open about it, and then see what it can become.
Totally. I definitely think that's something that's really important, is just having an open mind with mocking, because I know a lot of people sometimes like. It's something that's really interesting to me, because I often see people, like, they're building something, like, no, this is terrible, like, and then heaps of other people are looking at it, they're like, are you kidding me, that looks amazing. And I often think it's helpful to just keep an open mind about it, because it may look terrible to begin with, but over time, and as you keep playing with it and stuff, it may look and become much better. And, like, I always say version 1 is better than version none. Like, that may be the very first version you have to do, and then realize, okay, maybe it isn't too good. And then from that, you learn what not to do, and you keep progressing. And then you're like, hey, I made something cool.
Yeah, to kind of jump into that, one of the things that like is super hard for me to ever really do, and it's not really version 1, but it was like attempt 1, attempt 2, and then I finally nailed it on attempt 3, was I'm terrible at Rahi. Yeah. Like, they're so hard for me to build. It's funny because some people, it's more natural to them. Whereas the one thing that's super easy for me to do, but nobody else does it, is vehicles.
Okay.
So, but like, I did a mock called the Ratuka Tiger.
Yep.
A long time ago. It's this giant lime green cat horse thing, and it was just awful. I hated it, and so I built it and I put it out on the interwebs, and then it was there and it got some reaction, mixed reviews, and then I tried it again with like a couple other things, but I didn't really hit like a quote unquote successful Rahi until I did my my dinosaur mock, the T-Rex that I have.
Yeah.
The blue and green one. His name is Nui Moko. Yep. And so that was the first time I hit like landed on a successful Rahi, but I had to go through like two to four really bad, lame-looking ones before I got there.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you have to do that with just a version of a mock, that's fine because, like, it's funny because, like, what people don't understand, what a lot of the Bionicle builders don't understand that they're doing when they do multiple versions is they're employing iterative design, which is what, like, literally anything that is designed professionally, like a Lego set or a car or a vacuum cleaner, literally just about everything is done through iterative design. And it's such a powerful tool that, like, we employ it without even really consciously knowing that's what we're doing.
Yeah, right.
So, when you make version 1, like, sure, it might not be the greatest, but like you said, version 1 is better than version none. And then you can make version 2 better, and then version 3, and version 4. And now I'm up to, like, version 5 or 6 on Mateo, and if you just look at those comparisons, just the difference is so night and day. It's like, you look back at your old mock and you go, what the heck was I thinking?
I always think it's really important to not judge early artistic efforts as well. I mean, like, too much. I mean, obviously, if you've built it and you're not happy with it, this may just be a personal preference. I don't know what you think, but I always think it's not as helpful to just look at it and be like, this is terrible, I hate it, this is ugly, and I always think it's good to kind of, I guess, more look at the positive aspects and then kind of be like, okay, well, I could improve upon that. I think kind of like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of berating yourself in a sense isn't as helpful. But I mean, that might just be my own personal preference, but...
Yeah, no, that's very true, because, like, to jump back into the mock I actually picked for myself, I could have absolutely done that with Maristela, because I hate her legs. They're giant, bulky, they're too blocky. She's got freaking cankles. It's just all bad. And so, like, if I had said, oh, I don't like the legs, and scrapped this whole mock, it would, like, then it would have never existed. Like, the world would have never seen it, and, like, how lame would that have been?
Yeah, totally.
Because I've had a lot of people, like, really respond to, like, oh my god, you used that really useless part. Nice job.
Yeah.
And, like, I could have very easily have done that if I had said, these legs suck, and be done with the whole thing. But, like, for me, like, I knew I could go back and fix that, and that's something I plan to do now because I have a bunch more tan than I had when I first built her.
Yeah. I recently revamped some older mocks, and it was really interesting for me doing that because I was able to... I built 5 mocks over the course of 4 days, which was like, whoa, how the heck did I do that? Like, it normally takes me like 4 days to build 1 mock. But it was essentially because 2 of them I already had the older version in front of me, and it was literally like taking it limb by limb, revamping that limb, and then continuing on. And because of that, it took like half the time because I already had, like, I guess 80% of the work done. I just had to, like, finesse it a bit more. And then a couple older ones where I had actually destroyed the older version. I just got up older pictures of it and then it was like, well, that's kind of more how I see doing it nowadays. And then it just kind of evolved, I guess. But it was interesting how much more, like, quicker I was able to build and how much more, like, happier with the result I was because... I had built that earlier version, and, like, I think revamping is really fun, like, easy, quick, and simple, because you kind of already know what you're going to do, I guess.
Yeah, like 90, like, not even 90%, like 85% of mocking is literally coming up with the idea of what you're doing, and then, like, that entire weight is taken off of you when you're just working on something that you already know what it is. You've already been down that road. You just have to kind of go down that road further to where in that path a little better, so that it's easier to go down that road and for other people to see what it is you're doing. Yeah,
totally. I feel like we've gone off track a bit, but that's really not a problem. So back to the mock. Really like all the little, like, trans light blue highlights through there, especially, like, with the hair being trans light blue. Like, that's really, like, kind of magic-y and just really fits.
Yeah. And it's super anime.
Yeah, it is super anime. That's great.
And, like I was going total like this is like a blatant Sailor Moon like rip off style. Just like she is absolutely 100% a magical girl.
Yeah, cool.
You know, she was definitely inspired by like the like nondescript magical girls of anime.
Yeah,
And
cool.
so and what's cool is like, you know, what she inadvertently did is I'm actually going to start a whole series of female mocks where they all have a different translucent hair color, and I'm going to go through the entire modern Lego palette and build one character for each trans color in the Lego palette in the modern one.
Yeah, fantastic. My phone just went
So
off there, and I hope nobody heard that. But yeah, that sounds great.
So yeah, one of the other things I really liked is I liked how I got those like one of the hardest things for me to do, and this is like where you can sometimes get a really useless, stupid part into a mock, and without even really trying, is I had the hardest time trying to like top her head and just put something up on there that worked, and I tried a whole bunch of different stupid stuff, and then finally I just like I was digging around in my Hero Factory parts, and I grabbed the skull piece for the crystal beast from the Invasion Below set. It's his skull, and I literally just stuck it on top of there. I'm like, oh my god, that worked. It's a bump. Let's go.
Perfect.
Like she has a bump as a hairstyle, as like part of her hairstyle, and it's in between her giant like engine intake bow.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
So it was just, and like what was funny about that is it turned out to be just such a simple solution to the problem that I spent like 25 minutes trying to solve.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Great work with that mock. Shall we move on to the next one?
All right, thank you. Yeah.
No worries. So the next mock we have is by L.A. Miranda, or what did you say her other possible, or his other name was?
L.A. Miranda. He also goes by Golden Arpeggio on like DeviantArt is where he goes by that. But I believe it's also like if you go to his Flickr, it says both L.A. Miranda and then like Golden Arpeggio.
Yeah, cool. So this mock is called
yeah, it really does.
Requia.
Yeah, like I'm sorry if we're murdering that the name. I'm not entirely sure what the pronunciation of that is, but yeah, I'm gonna call it Requia.
It looks right.
Looked right to me. So yeah, I picked this because like this directly inspired Maristela and a few other mocks of mine that I've since like taken apart, but like this and Eero Okenson really inspired my mock, and so I felt like if we're going to talk about other people's mocks, like why not pick what has been inspiring me?
I think that's a really cool like thing to cover, because I often find with when I'm building, there's a lot of mocks that really inspire a lot of what I do, and it's not so much that I like directly copy it, because that's not what I'm doing, but like I don't quite know how to word it, but there is sort of a level of, I wouldn't call it copying. I hate to word it like that because it's not, but it's kind of like, I guess like directly referencing and being inspired by other people's stuff.
In music, it's called riffing. Like you're riffing off of their idea.
Yeah.
And so the term riffing means like I like that idea, but I'm gonna come up with something of my own that's kind of like a spin on that. It's a take on that musical idea or just that ideological thing that is inspiring me. And yeah, it's something that we all do. Like no builder is truly original unless they are living in a complete and absolute vacuum with like no internet and no like outside influences. But if that kind of person exists, we don't know of them anyways.
Yeah. One thing that I've already lost my train of thought. It's gone. But yeah, that was what I was going to say. I mentioned it in one of the System Inspiration series episodes, where
that I don't watch. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry, but like the system stuff is cool, and I should probably go. Like you, we should all probably go watch those because, like you say, keep an open mind. But I'm sorry, I've never watched a single one of those.
You're good.
I'm
You're good.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
What you were saying?
There's in one episode I talked about castle builds and how there's a guide by possibly the best castle builder online who's called Defil Cardam. And he builds. He's made a guide where he literally it's essentially instructions for how to build one of his mocks, and he just kind of covers a lot of his techniques and stuff. And so essentially, what I did with that is I built a mock like very heavily referring to that guide and kind of building off of that. And then as a result, I learned a lot of like the techniques from that. And then off of that, all of my castle mocks have a huge influence off of Defil Cardam, but I'm not directly copying the guide like I was before. I'm just, taking the concepts and then applying it to my own building style. And I guess that's kind of what you've done with this in a sense, is like, this inspired you, you took a lot of the concepts, but you didn't just steal them, you made them your own, you adapted them, that kind of thing.
Yeah, cause if you look at Requia, she actually has the invasion from below, those skull pieces on her, as the bow, in her hair. And so I just really love the shape, like just the shaping that evokes. So when it came time to do my own version, it's like, oh, let's stick a giant fat plastic bow on her. What can we use? Oh, I'm using purple. Oh, hey, I have like 8 of these engine parts. These intake halves. So I literally just fitted them together so they made the whole thing, and then I just stuck the whole thing like in there so that the idea is that like it ties to the back of her hair, and then like the rest of it just kind of flows around it.
Yeah, fantastic. There's so many cool, really, really cool part usages on Requia. Like, for example, using those like hockey Hero Factory shoulder armor pieces as like the shoes. Like really ties in like texture-wise and everything with everything else.
Yeah, those they're actually, and they're also used on like motorcycles for like minifigs.
Oh, there you go.
I think.
I
think because like I've tried to find those things. They're actually on Bricklink. They're actually like in the vehicles, and they're called like a motorcycle fairing.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
But yeah, like they were also used on Exoforce, which is I think where we all got them from.
Yeah.
That's where I got mine.
Yeah, me too. And I also really like how LA Miranda has used the not Hero Factory. Is it the Toa Nuva canister lid for the dress?
Yes, it's the Toa. No, not the Nuva. No, that is the Toa Metro.
Yes, you're right.
Metro, because like I don't want to take credit for it because like anybody can just find that idea, but like I actually used the brown Toa Metro canister on my mock of Big Daddy when I built that, and I'm like, I need a dome piece. So where can I use a dome piece? And I literally was digging around and I found it, and like, it has a single pin connection in that thing. So that it's literally what he's done here is like that's an axle going through there, and then so literally the top half and the entire bottom half are connected through one axle.
Yeah, but it's really cool, like using pieces from the canisters, from like boxes and stuff. Really kind of like, for example, I've seen some people use some of the like pens and like pieces from like the stationary stuff that Lego's done, like using really, really obscure parts like that. I think is awesome and really clever, and works so well here. I think it's just fantastic.
Definitely. Recently I saw it was for the Bio Cup where somebody took like Clicket's parts and the comb and he made the spine of like a dinosaur and like it's this like god awful like glitter pink color that like they probably only used in that line, but like it's got like parts from that, and I'm like, oh my god, like even that, like, because for me, like using the canister stuff, and I've actually done a few other canister builds. I've used the Metro lid twice, and then I used the Mari. You remember the Toa Mari where they had that like plastic piece that went over the entire canister?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's got some actual like some proper connection points. It's got some pinholes, and then it's got the bar and clip size pinholes for it molded into that. And I use that to turn that into a like a flying aircraft, kind of like inspired by the speeder in episode 2 in the opening chase scene.
Ah, cool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I used it there, and so like some of these parts do have like official connection points on them, and so for me personally, like as long as it has an official connection point, it's really not that much of a stretch to be able to integrate it into an actual mock because you have a physical anchoring point to put more Lego onto this piece. So
Yeah, totally.
if you can do that, it's not that hard. You just literally have to look at it like, oh, there's the connection point there, and then that's how you work it in. But like those click it parts, I don't even think some of those have like proper official connection points. It's literally just a chunk of plastic.
Yeah. The specific mock you were just talking about, I actually put it in one of the upcoming bonus inspiration series episode.
Okay.
So I looked up the original set. Turns out it actually does have some connection points. Like the comb has some pinholes on the side, and so does little. Like,
okay. Well, see then, yeah. So see, like I never had any of those because like I'm an only child, so like I didn't have any sisters who like inadvertently got click it sets from their little brother who's like, yeah, Lego's awesome. Here, have some girl Lego. So like I never had any exposure to clickets as a theme, so I have no idea what those pieces contain as far as like connection points. But
Yeah, totally.
that's pretty like if you can find a connection point on a Lego piece, it's useful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Any other final points there on L.A. Miranda's?
I like the overall shaping. I really like because like he could have given her like giant boobs and he didn't, and it's actually it's a lot more modest, and that kind of speaks to I want to say more intelligent female mock design. Like you see some of those mocks where they got just giant like Nuva boobs and or they use some other part like the Hero Factory armor shells that are round, and it's just like tiny little skinny mock with like giant boobs, and it just really throws out the proportions. And like I mean I can see it when it's like a joke, like ha ha ha, kind of funny, but like it happens a little too much where it's like you do realize there's other ways you can build a female mock, right?
Yeah.
And
right.
so I just really like that the shaping is a little more proportionate. It's not just completely blown out.
Yeah, totally. Awesome.
So
I guess that's about it.
Move on to the next one.
Definitely. So this mock, I mean, technically it's called The World's Changing. It's time we change too. But I guess it's the just the Vulture from Spider-Man.
It's the Vulture.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just fair warning, we are going to talk about spoilers. I'm going to talk about spoilers in Spider-Man Homecoming. So if you have not seen Spider-Man Homecoming, first of all, stop this video right now. Just stop. Sorry, Ben, for your views.
Yeah.
Go see that movie and then come back to this video and then can finish watching it because it's a great movie. This is a great villain. I absolutely love this mock.
Yes.
So without further ado, here is the Vulture.
That's where I speak. So I I love what he's done with this mock. I love probably one of my little favorite additions is because he includes a couple photos of him without the wings and then him with. the wings.
Yeah. That's the one I'm looking at right now, and like, it doesn't quite work as well for me like his back without the wings. It feels a little bland, but I can completely understand why that is, because, like, you have to be able to fit this entire giant chunk of plastic onto his back, so it's got to have some functionality to it, I think.
I actually quite like the back even. Well, I really like the back with the wings, because then it's got the little sort of flip-up edition with the, here's the spoiler, the Chitauri crystal thing in the back there. But also really cool without. I think it actually really kind of helps accent the fact that he's wearing like a flight jacket.
Yeah. And that probably stems a little bit from my unfamiliarity with like what the like. I haven't ever actually looked like a proper like character reference sheet from the Vulture, from the movie. So
Mm.
that could just be the way it actually looks.
Right, right. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't quite know what the back looks like, but I mean, it looks good to me. I like it.
Yeah, but the way he did, like, my favorite thing, and this is something that, like, a lot of builders don't seem to do. They have this weird aversion to, like, oh my god, it can't have more than like two colors on it. Is the color blocking is just really nice.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because like he could have easily just made it all brown or all tan or all like, and like that would work, but it's not as true to the character.
yes,
Um, so, like, when you build your own mock, like, even if it's not a recreation of an official, like, pre-existing thing, even if it's just completely your own character, just, you can add a lot of, deep, like, realism and believability to the character just by changing out a few parts into a different color.
yeah. I mean, they all work quite well because they're kind of like analogous colors in a sense. Like they're all sort of
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
shades, like being like the different grays and browns and blacks
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, in my opinion, I think the reason that that works so well, because yeah, some people are like, yo, you can't have too many colors, but I think that works so well because they are so close in, like the shading and the hues and stuff.
Yeah, because like
Um,
yeah, because like tan and brown are just shades of brown.
yeah,
The gunmetal, the black, the dark gray, the light gray, those are all grayscale.
yeah, exactly. Um, so like definitely, I think that like you can easily have more than like 3 or 4 colors on a mock, but if you
But
if you were like red and blue and yellow and green, like I mean, depending on the look you're going for, if you want to kind of like I don't know clown or something, that
yeah,
might work really well. But
to draw on my experience as a theme coordinator at a Lego convention, um, this year at Bricks by the Bay, there was a mock that won like best humanoid. It's called Zix by GZB Mocks
yep,
on Instagram.
yep,
Um, and it was one of those mocks where like, oh, yellow and then teal and then like black and then dark, like it was just this and like red, and it was a bunch of these colors that shouldn't work, but the way he did it, it was almost like this organized chaos kind of thing to
that's
where
really
that
cool.
did
Yeah,
work. But
fantastic.
like so like organized chaos can work a little bit if you manage it in there, but this is such a great example of how if you open up your color palette, you could literally paint a painting with Bionicle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah.
Because like if we actually broke down every color that's in this thing, it's a pretty long list because
Mm.
it's black, gunmetal, silver, dark green, trans purple, brown, tan,
Even
you
a bit of
know,
yellow and stuff like
a
that.
little
Yeah.
bit, little tiny bit of yellow.
Mm.
Um, you know, like that's 8 colors right there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And that's probably not even like dissecting it even further into like what other. Oh, there's sand green in there. There's a little bit of sand green
Yeah, 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 yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Um, like that just goes to show if you if you mix colors, you're painting with Bionicle, you're painting with Lego,
Yeah, totally.
and you get just such a cooler response if you are painting in the like if you're doing a painting rather than this like monocolor or like two-tone mock.
Yes. Yeah.
So my favorite thing about this thing is its color scheme.
Yeah.
Uh, just like it draws my eye. Like the trans purple definitely draws my eye to the weapon in the photo, and then
Yes.
like with the back shot, you see that the Chitari crystals in there. Um, and it's like, oh, that's cool. And like one of the other things is like it's one thing to see a mock in the pictures, but then like when you actually get the opportunity to see it standing on a table, like amongst like 50 or 100 or 200, however many other mocks, like those little color details can draw you in and be like, oh, that one's cool. I see a bit of color that I like, and then
Yeah.
you see it, and then you're exploring the mock again like a painting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One
So
thing.
so
Oh no, go
open
ahead.
up your colors, kids. Like paint with Bionicle.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I quite like about this is in the overall shot where he's got the wings on, he's also got the little like kind of talon mechanical bits that go onto his feet. I really like that concept of how you can have, just the Vulture mock on its own, and then adding the stuff on top, like the wings and those, really like enhances it and brings it out more. And I know that like very much fits with the character, but you could easily do that same concept with another mock of having like additional armor or additional things that you put on.
That makes sense. Yeah, I haven't really explored like where like, oh hey, here's the mock, and then like here's some extra bits that go onto the mock. Yeah, that's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, like, cause like in the movie, like I actually haven't rewatched Spider-Man: Homecoming. I've only just seen it in the theaters.
Yeah.
Like the one time.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm going off of just my original first impression. I'll rewatch the movie when it comes out and all that stuff. But I'm just going off of one impression of that film. But like, wasn't the mechanical part where like it was sort of like an apparatus that like he walked into, and it almost kind of did the Iron Man thing where it like clasped around him, but it went all the way down to his feet. Wasn't it like that?
I think it was. Yeah, you might be right there.
Yeah, so, like, but that's cool to show that, like, oh, it could have just been the wings, but it actually came all the way down, and it was the talons, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's just, like, that's probably just, like, cool character design on Marvel's part, on, the filmmaker's part, but, to then grab it and then throw it into the mock is also just, like, a great attention to detail, because that feels like a detail that could be missed a little bit, or just not like paid as much attention to. But like, I love how the talons on his feet are just as greebled and interesting to look at as, parts of the wings.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, what a brilliant job, I think. Mr. I don't think we said his name. Mr. Brick Olson has done a fantastic job here. So on that, be sure to check the links in the description to the mocks that you saw in today's episode, because every builder that you've seen today is a fantastic builder, and you should definitely check out some of the other stuff that they've done. Or pictures that we may not have included.
Yes.
I guess that's about it. So, we're running later than I thought, but I don't really think that's a problem. This is just going to be a longer episode.
Okay.
So the way that these are going to work, as you've already seen, I am going to ask Mr. Dave here 5 questions, which will hopefully give you a few additional tips and tricks and help to inspire you and all that jazz.
Okay,
so the first question. Oh,
and I'll try not to ramble on like a madman.
Yeah, that's all right. The first question I have today is, how do you go from coming up with the concept of a mock and then going into the finished product?
Ooh, yeah, this is a good one. This is actually something I was thinking we could do a whole series, like a whole podcast on.
Oh, yeah.
Just by itself. But, yeah, just to, give a quick answer, there's a few different ways I go. There's the spark of inspiration where I literally just sit down with my Lego pieces and keep my brain completely wide open and just start grabbing Lego pieces that I think are interesting and holding them up to each other and going, wow, that looks like an insert, phrase.
Yeah.
With Maristela, it was the roof pieces, the castle pieces. With New Emoko, it was literally the Dragon Bolt mask and the first year Hero Factory shin guards. And I'm just like, oh, that would make a cool dinosaur jaw. All right, well, let's try that. And then just because like the top half was blue and the bottom half was red, I'm like, oh, well, how cool would it be if we made it where it was the top half of the entire mock was blue and then the bottom half was red? And so something like that. My mock, Dr. Arachnifair, the guy where he's got his brain in a jar.
Yep.
That guy. It was literally just like, I want to use this stupid canister piece from the when the Roxy came out. You could also get the extra little slugs.
Yep.
Like the masks. So it can't. it came in a little canister, and the lid piece has a connection point on it, and I'm like, I want to use this jar for something. It's small enough that I can use it inside of a mock, and I'm holding it, and I'm digging around, looking at stuff, and I open up my drawer of all my small system plate pieces. Like it's like 1x1s, 1x2s, 1x3s, and then like corner pieces, just really small Technic plate or system plates. And I had all these 1x1 rounds in pink, and I'm like, oh, I bet if I shoved all of those into this jar, it would look like a brain. And sure enough, it did.
Fantastic.
The other process is just like I have a cool idea that I just think would be a neat mock to flesh out sometime, and it's just this preordained idea, and then I just kind of throw it on a mental laundry list of mocks that like I could build someday. And then if I really can't find anything else, I just kind of reference that list, and then I build something. So like the most recent version of that is, you know, my Octo Mech that I just recently made,
Mm-hmm.
where it's the bright orange one with the dome and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was one of those mocks where it was just like, oh, I want to build a mock where it looks kind of like the retro sci-fi 50s, you know, robots with the squiggly noodle arms and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
but looked a little more modern and a little more menacing and stuff like that. And so that was one of those mocks where like I pulled this idea out of my list and just started to work on it. So it's one part being open to ideas and not necessarily sitting down with an idea. I feel like too many mockers feel like they have to already have an idea to start mocking.
Yeah. That's an interesting point.
Like they sit down and go, oh, I have to have an idea to start mocking. But really the inverse can be true. You can have no idea, and then the process of mocking or just holding parts up to other Lego parts can give you the idea, and then away you go.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once I have that spark, then the rest is just fleshing out the idea. Just literally, just like with my Cerberus chopper, it was, oh, the Paraka feet look really cool around this wheel. It could go on a motorcycle. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I literally started at the very front of the motorcycle and worked all my way back as I built it. And so it's just literally just fleshing out the idea.
Yeah.
Just from having that initial spark of inspiration.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I think that answers that question quite nicely. The next question is, I think you kind of have covered a bunch of it, so I'll reword it a bit. But essentially it was what sort of sparks your creative juices, but I guess kind of more looking at it in terms of like, is there any sort of specific like media or things that you read or do that you get a lot of inspiration from or that has inspired you in the past?
Yeah, definitely. My personal favorite, and you'll notice it, I don't use it as much as I would like, but I love Mythology. Actually, no, I use it a little more than maybe I'm letting on. I love Mythology. I just love ancient mythology. It's so fun. It's so fantastical. It's like this weird mix of history, but like fiction, and it's just like the characters are just so much richer than anything I feel like I could ever come up with. Yeah. So like one of my earliest versions is Mototar. He's a Minotaur. Minotaurs are from Greek mythology. Mm-hmm. Another one was just like I wanted something kind of Egypt looking, and I haven't really touched on that beat as much as I want, but I built a little tiny mock called Neckbet, and it's a little tiny bird. And they're just these birds that are like it was based off of a little tiny bird that's just native to Egypt, and it was an Egyptian god. The name Neckbet was like one of the names for like an Egyptian goddess or god, where it was just this little tiny bird.
Fantastic.
Then I've also done a satyr, Melanthios.
Yeah.
He's he's a satyr, and again that's going back to Greek mythology. And then I'm working on a mock. It's going to be really big, but it's going to be Viking themed. So then we're getting into like Norse mythology and stuff like that.
Cool.
You know, like Odin and Thor and just like Loki and all that cool stuff. Um,
Exciting.
so mythology is a big one that I really draw on. I don't draw as much on video games anymore because like I don't play video games as much.
Yep.
It's still very much like mythology and then like reading books.
Yeah, cool. Fantastic.
Uh, the other one, the quick one, I also play Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
So that's like influenced like kind of the way the way I name my characters now because like they have to introduce a lot of characters like every year, so they have this sort of convention for naming their characters, and I've kind of borrowed that too. So just different influences, different things I like.
Fantastic. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. The next question: what would be your favorite mock and why is it?
Okay, favorite mock of mine or favorite mock of somebody else's?
Oh, dang it! I didn't think of that. Just do both.
Oh, I got Ben. Do you see how I got him? I cornered him. Favorite mock of mine. Oh my god. See, like that's always gonna like. It's Mateo. Like it's easy.
Yep.
It's Mateo. Like why else would I have just dumped so much time and effort and money into just
Yeah.
making him better? Like he's wearing a $50 cape. He's wearing
Really?
the old school. He's wearing the old school Darth Vader cape.
Oh wow.
And I found that stupid thing on eBay for $30 with the whole rest of the set, so I lucked out there.
Nice.
But like Mateo is wearing high fashion as far as Bionicles are concerned. It's just like he started out as just a random mock. He was just a random Makuta who pretended to be like this old frail guy. Like, so nobody took him seriously and nobody thought he was anything special. And then he just went boom into attack mode and he was just like this ruthless, lethal killer.
Nice.
And like that was the original idea of the mock, and then but he was just pretending to be an old guy, and then I just like developed the character more and more to where he was just actually an old guy, but he was just immortal and just lived forever and had a couple of cool abilities.
Yeah, cool.
But like he's developed into so much of a character that like I literally want to start writing books and like want to really see where I can go with that and maybe actually publish a book at some point.
Oh, awesome. That sounds great. Cool.
Yeah. Favorite mock of somebody else's? Oh god, that's so hard.
You
How
were
do you
the one
pick-
who said to do it.
Oh, right. Like because like I answered the question with the question, and now I just realized I played myself. Favorite mock? Well, because see, like that's always gonna kind of like change and evolve, isn't it? Because like if somebody comes out with like a new mock, you think that's really great, and you just think that's one of like the best things you've ever seen. See, like that's one of those questions where I almost wish like I had the time to dig around on Flickr and just kind of like brainstorm old mocks. I like some of Arrow Okinson's earlier work. Again, like he's one of the other people that just really drew inspiration that I drew inspiration from. Oh man, that's so hard. Favorite mock by somebody else. That's so difficult. Just because I'm blanking hella hard on mocks and just people and stuff, I'll go kind of easy on myself. I really like Endeavor from the new version of Endeavor by Elira. That thing she worked so hard on that thing and threw so much money at it, and it's like, it's so badass.
Yeah.
I just think that like the character, it's her at her finest so far. Like that is, in my opinion, her best mock so far.
Yes. Yes.
And like Mesky is adorable, and I love that she's just like a super like computer nerd wimp. But Endeavor is just so badass.
Nice.
So there you go.
The second last question: what is a piece that you just love using?
Ooh, piece that I love using. Ooh, that's. I absolutely love using the smallest CCBS bone piece. I find that thing so fucking useful all the time.
Nice.
I literally have a drawer of small CCBS, and it's like 300 of just a couple different colors of them. I go out of my way to buy a bunch of them on Bricklink and stuff because they're just like so useful. And like if we jump back over to Maristela, I used a crap ton of those in Trans Blue to make her hair.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect.
So like yeah, I used the crap out of that part on her, and then like also my Octo Mech, the actual bone structure inside of it is just a crap ton of those in trans orange strung together.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
I use that thing everywhere.
Great.
When I can.
And the final question is just a little random one that I've come up with. It should be different for every episode. So this one, what is your favorite set?
Favorite set? Ooh. Like of like all time of just like certain generations, certain themes, like does it matter?
Knew you would do this. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh man, favorite set of like all time. A favorite recent set that I didn't really expect that I would like was the Apollo 5 or the Saturn 5, the Apollo Saturn 5.
Yep.
That thing was such a weird build, and like I thought it would take me forever to build it because like I heard people like, oh, it took me like 3-4 hours to build this thing, and it was so difficult and weird. And then it took me like an hour and a half to build the thing because it was already like when I build with system, it's already like this weird like in every direction style of building. So it's just like boop, boop, boop. Oh, hey, cool. I have the Saturn 5. Neat.
Nice.
Favorite Bionicle. Let's do a favorite G1 Bionicle. I'm gonna go with something kind of simple. Nuparu and Nika.
Really?
Yeah, because like he's like, see the thing is, the Nika gets so much crap from the community because it's what Lego started recycling towards the death of Bionicle. But
Yes.
like if you actually kind of remove all that hatred of just like, oh god damn it, not another Nika build, like it was actually a really it was the first time you had the fully posable like it was all there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of like the final iteration of them doing Toa builds.
Yeah.
And so like it became like, all right, we're done, and then they kept reusing it to the point we hated it. But like 2006 was just such a bomb year for Bionicle. It's my favorite year of Bionicle, without a doubt. And just Nuparu specifically had that really cool mask.
Yeah, he did. He did. I did like that mask.
He just had that really and it's like one of the most like rock star metal Lego pieces I've ever seen. Just like, "Urgh." Yeah, and just like he's got a spiked mohawk. Like, how can you not love that? And then like his weapon was just like this sonic, just like it looked kind of like the gun from Gears of War, where it's just like, I'm gonna like shoot you with this, and then I'm gonna drill it into your face.
Mm.
And just I really love that. It's kind of a cheat. It's what my mind jumped to the first, but I felt like it was kind of a cheat because it's actually a combiner model. But I really love the Cardus Dragon too. That was such a cool build. Like I blatantly stole those wings for Archimedes. I'm like, I need these, and just it's almost copy and paste those wings plus like an extra few parts to beef them out on my old mock Archimedes. So like if I can pick that. The Cardus Dragon.
Nice. Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll let you take that.
Okay, the Cardus Dragon then. Or if I can't pick an official like combiner set, because it's technically 3 sets in one, then Nuparu because he was just so metal.
Yeah. Cool.
System set, I don't know. Just old system set, I don't know. Probably like. I don't know. The insectoids were pretty cool. I had some. You know what? No, my favorite old school system set was the episode 1 pod racers. where you got the three of them. You got the three of them. Because I remember after that came out and I got that, and like I didn't get it. It was the one set out of the episode 1 Star Wars sets that I didn't get for like the longest time. So finally, when I did, it was just like, oh, it was just that moment. And then I remember I went on such a huge pod racer bend where all I built was pod racers to go. So favorite older system set would be like the pod racers, because that just inspired me to go down that entire rabbit hole.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I guess that about does it for today's episode.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dave, for coming on the episode today. Where can people find you if they're keen to look at some of your mocks?
Well, I'm on Flickr. Flickr, DeviantArt, Instagram, just about everywhere. I'm on Tumblr too, but I don't really post a lot there. I'm on interwebs as Mana Ramp Matoran. Sometimes that's underscored, sometimes it's all one word, sometimes it's hyphenated. MANA Ramp Matoran.
Perfect. Cool.
So drop me a link and say hi, and if you're just now discovering me, for some reason, from here, let me know that, hey, I saw you on Ben's podcast thing and drop by, because that'll be really cool.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, do that.
So
so thanks for being on. Thanks for the chats. Thank you for everything. I guess that about does it. So I'll include Dave's links to his social media in the links in the description. Also, be sure to check the links in the description for the other mocks that you saw in today's episode, because there's some really, really good stuff.
Oh, so many good mocks.
Yeah. And that about does it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.
When do we stop recording? Do we stop recording at the same time? What happened?